I like how the Camon series keeps improving its camera every year. This time we're even getting a telephoto lens, the Sony sensor is still there, and Tecno is clearly leaning hard into AI features again. On paper, that all sounds great for photography. But one thing I don't understand is why a Pro phone in 2026 still uses 4G. Let's start with design and display. The Camon 50 Pro is a big phone. It's 6.78 inches. So if you like large screens for watching videos or scrolling, you probably like this one. Phone is also pretty slim at 7.8 mm. It should feel fairly balanced, though big phones like this can still be a little awkward when you use it one-handed. But it depends on your grip. You get dual nano SIM support, which is pretty standard. What stood out for me though is the IP68 and IP69 rating for dust and water resistance. On paper, that means it should handle water immersion and even high pressure water jets. There's also the MIL STD 810H certification, but that doesn't mean the phone is fully rugged. It just means it passed certain durability tests. On the front, there's a 6.7-inch AMOLED display with 144Hz refresh rate. Now, that sounds great on paper because it makes animation and scrolling feel really smooth. The display also supports HDR images, which should help with contrasts and colors in supported content. That being said, specs don't always tell the full story. Things like actual brightness, color tuning, and how often the phone uses the 144Hz refresh rate will matter more in day-to-day use. So what do you guys think about the display? How would you rate it over other devices I've reviewed this year? Next, let's move to camera, which is the main focus on the Camon series. The main camera is a 50MP sensor with OIS, which should help you with stability and low light shots. On paper, that's solid, but as usual, image processing will matter just as much as hardware. You also get a 50MP telephoto camera with 3x optical zoom, and it also has OIS, which is a nice addition because telephoto lenses are not common in this price range. It should help with zoom shots, although we'll have to see how consistent it looks compared to the main camera. There's also an 8MP ultra-wide camera for wider shots. Now, the 8MP ultra-wide lens is good, but it's a bit low, and it will not be as clear as the other 50MP main camera. For selfie, there's a 50MP front camera, which sounds impressive, but megapixel don't always tell the story. So, I took some photos and videos, and you guys should tell me how good they are. Rate it over 10. Performance and software. The phone runs on Android 16 and iOS 16, and Tecno promises 3 years of major Android updates. Software support in this category can sometimes be a bit inconsistent, so promising multiple updates is definitely positive. The real question though is how fast these updates will arrive. Performance, the Camon is using the MediaTek Helio G200 Ultimate. To be fair, this chip is pretty common for phones in this price range, so the processor itself isn't surprising. For everyday things like social media, watching videos, and normal multitasking, it should be perfectly fine. As I said earlier, my only issue here is the fact that this device comes with a 4G chip. In 2026, that feels like a little disappointment. For memory and storage, you get 256GB storage and 8GB of RAM, which is pretty generous. Overall, the performance should be solid for everyday use, but the lack of 5G is probably one spec that feels left behind. For battery, the Camon comes with a 6500 mAh battery, which is quite large. On paper, that should easily get most people through a day, maybe even more depending on heavy or light usage. For charging, you get a 45-watt charging brick in the box, which is decent but not exactly the fastest out there. So phones around this category are starting to push higher charging, so this feels a little low. That being said, a bigger battery means the phone can last longer, so you don't get to charge frequently. Overall, I think the Camon 50 looks like a solid camera-focused phone. The 50MP main camera and the 3x telephoto lens are easily the highlights. Plus, the AMOLED display, 144Hz refresh rate, 6500 mAh battery is a major plus. I know I've been repeating myself complaining about the 4G chipset, but it's the truth. I can't imagine a device this good come with the 4G chipset. It's just a letdown. So if cameras are your main priority, this is one phone to look out. As I said earlier, my only problem is the fact that you don't get 5G. But if I would rate this phone over 10, I would give it an 8 because it ticks a lot of boxes. So what do you guys think about my review about the Camon 50 Pro? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.